to Pilates. My name's Kirsty, good to see you. Hope you're all well this evening, and as always just a quick little disclaimer in terms of any injuries and any niggles that you might have. Please just work within your own limit. If there's something that doesn't feel right, please listen out for some options. There'll be lots of options as we go through, and always just take the opportunity to pause and stretch or rest if you need to. So we're going to start lying down on our backs today. If you've got a block, a cushion, something like that, you can grab those, have one of those to hand. Always option to rest it under your head when we're lying flat. So let's get started. Bring yourself down. Take your legs long and take your arms long, and just have a full stretch. Reach the fingers, reach the toes as far away as you can. Wiggle at the fingers and the toes. Circle of the wrists and the ankles. And bringing one knee into the chest. So a little stretch through the hip, a little circle through the hip, and through the knee as well, adding a little bit of movement. And coming into a stretch of the back of the leg. So foot extends to the ceiling, holding behind the thigh or the calf. And just gently drawing the leg in. Notice when the leg is longer, that you'll tend to feel the hamstring stretch, kind of closer to your knee. And then bending the knee just a little bit will allow the knee to come closer, and you'll start to feel the hamstring stretch a bit further up. So maybe you just ease in and out gently. And at the same time you can flex and point through the ankle to deepen and loosen the stretch through your calf. Stretch into the inner thigh. So with that leg lifted, I'd like you to take it just out to the side. And you can use the right hand to support the leg. Maybe the elbow rests on the floor. So we're just coming through to an inner thigh stretch. You can bend the knee for a little bit less tension through the stretch. And then bringing that right leg into centre. And then taking it gently across your body. So for this one, we want to keep both hips down to the floor. You might use your hand just to tuck into the hip. And the right leg comes across the midline of the body. We're looking for a stretch through the outer thigh. So just down this bit. No twist, no rotation in the body. Swap legs. So the right foot comes down, the knee can be bent or the leg can be extended. The left knee comes into the chest. Again, starting off with a little circle through the hip, a little bit of movement mobility. And then through the knee as well. Taking the foot up for the hamstring and calf stretch. So the back of the leg, hamstring and calf muscle, gently drawing the leg closer, further away, easing in and easing out. And there's always that kind of rule to follow, is that if you find it difficult stretching, if you know that you're tight, if kind of all of this is just a little bit uncomfortable because it's all tight, then you should do it more, right? You know that thing of saying that if you haven't got time to meditate for 10 minutes, you should meditate for an hour. Similar sort of thing here is that if it hurts, if it's not enjoyable, it's just because we don't do it often enough. Come out to the side. So using the hand to lower the leg away, inner thigh stretch. How many of us are guilty of that? We do the work, we do the exercise, and then we don't stretch afterwards. Such a common thing. And then on top of that, life just kind of affects our body, sitting down, standing up, all these positions that we do repeatedly. Bring the leg across the centre. So this time, outer thigh stretch. The leg comes just a little bit across the body. chest. Little rock and roll side to side. You might circle again through the hips. You might come forwards and backwards. Just getting a little bit of movement through the spine. And then we're going to start to build that movement. So I'd like you to come into a gentle bridge. Bring the feet to the heels close to the bottom. We've got the feet hip width apart still. The toes are facing forward so that the edges of the feet are kind of parallel. We've not got toes pointing outwards. So starting with a neutral spine, little wiggle of your hips, little tuck and tip of your tailbone, and finding just that comfortable place, that comfortable little curve. As you breathe in, little squeeze of the tummy muscles, tuck the tailbone, and start to roll up through the spine. And so the first few, you don't have to come very far. Breathing out, gently rolling back down. This is all about finding some movement, finding some mobility through the spine. So rather than just kind of up and down, we're really thinking about peeling the spine away from the floor. In breath to lift, out breath to roll back down. And so give me a few of these. Each time you lift, you might bring the hips a little bit higher. You might press the heels a little bit stronger into the floor and squeeze the belly and squeeze the bottom a little bit tighter. And so as the spine gets warmer, you might come a little bit higher. When we start the move, we've got forward flexion. We've got a curve through the spine this way. As we get to the top, we might turn that forward flexion into a little bit of extension. We end up with extension through the lower back. As long as it's comfortable, that's absolutely fine to go there. So next time you come up into bridge, I'd like you to stop at the top. So we breathe in and we roll up. We're going to hold here for a little bit. So coming up onto the shoulder blades, the arms are just kind of wherever is comfortable alongside the body. You've got the heels pressing down into the floor, you've got the bottom squeezed tight. And you're trying to elongate your body. So from the knees to the shoulders as long as possible. And just make sure now that the back isn't overextending. So a little squeeze of your belly is going to send your spine along. From here we come to marching feet. So I'd like you to keep the balls of your feet in contact with the floor. And one at a time we lift and lower the heels. So you can come up and down, or you might alternate, kind of pedaling motion. Turn and see if you can see it there from this angle. So we're lifting, heel up, heel down, heel up, heel down. And so what we're looking for here is to find stabilisation through the body. So as the heels are coming up and down, we want to keep the hips, the pelvis completely still. So we're learning to shift the weight from foot to foot. We're learning to stabilise through one side of the body, while the other side kind of gets that little pass to let go and to move. We swap sides, we swap sides. So squeezing through the glutes, squeezing through the belly, pressing strong through the heels, feeling the leg muscles engage in this one. Anytime you need to pause and reset, both heels come down, roll the spine down, reset and come back up. And if this is feeling good and comfortable, and you think, yeah, I've kind of got the idea of the move, I know my hips are staying still, we can add a little bit more on. And this is going to be taking one foot off of the floor completely at a time. So tucking the tailbone, breathing in, rolling up. Setting neutral spine, squeezing the back, squeezing the belly. As you breathe out, moving from the hip, one leg lifts. Breathe in, foot comes back down. Other side, breathe out, foot lifts. Breathe in, come down. You don't have to lift the foot high, it might just be an inch or two off of the floor. That is absolutely okay. Alternating legs, up and down, or sticking with marching feet. If that feels good, you stay there. It might help just to rest hands on the hips, on the side of the hips, so you feel if there's any rocking. And kind of if you're up in this bridge position, just resting here, and if as the leg lifts, you know, kind of you sort of feel, it gives you a good indication of what the hips are doing. So as still as possible through the hips. give me just a couple more of these on either side. Making sure when you land the foot that it lands where it came from. And that's going to stop you kind of travelling across the side of the mat. It's also going to keep the feet hip width, which is going to give you a little bit more stability when you've got both feet on the floor, but make it tougher when you've got one foot lifted. The idea being that we're 4 points of contact, shoulder blades and feet. When we lift one up, we become 3 points of contact with one missing. So like taking one table leg away rather than coming to a 3-legged table. So always keeping the distance between the feet. Roll yourself down. Once you're done there, hug the knees in, have a little stretch. It might feel nice to drop the knees side to side. You might roll forwards and backwards. We're going to come to do a little bit of work for our tummy muscles now. So if you do have something at home, something close by, whether it be a block, it might be a cushion, a shoe. I did this earlier with some ladies. We used our shoes. Anything that you've got that's not too heavy, just in case it does fall off your legs, it's going to kind of fall towards your face. Nothing breakable, nothing heavy, and something ideally that's got a little bit of a wobble to it to make it harder to balance. This is going to be the challenge. We're going to start just with a couple of normal curl-ups. So feet to the floor, feet hip width this time, a little bit further away from your bottom. Spine is neutral, hands to the side of the head. Little tip of the chin to begin with. Breathe out to curl up, squeeze the tummy muscles. Breathe in to hold at the top, and breathe out to come back down. Same again, tuck in the chin to begin with. As you squeeze, ribs come to hips, and the shoulders, the head just naturally lift up. Breathe out to come down. So keep going with these. And there's no rush at all, but when you're ready, and if you want to add a little bit more, one leg lifts. Knee over the hip, and then curl up. Head comes down, and foot comes down. Swap sides, knee over the hip. Breathe out, curl up. Breathe in, hold at the top. Breathe out, come back down. Foot lands. So keep going with a few more of those. Leg lifts when you're ready, and you alternate legs with each curl up. And so the challenge is then going to come, and in a few moments we're going to lift both legs and attempt to balance this object on your shins. If it doesn't feel good to lift both legs off the floor, absolutely fine, stick just with one leg and alternate legs each time and forget about the extra kind of challenge of balancing something. But if you have got both legs lifted, just watching for your lower back. Keep a squeeze of the tummy as the legs lift. So a couple more of these single leg curl-ups. Give me one more either side. Rest out for just a moment. So here comes the challenge then. You've got your object, and it's going to be just over your head, so just on the floor behind you. We're going to lift both knees over the hips. So shins parallel to the floor, knees directly over the hips. Belly is strong, spine is neutral. Make sure your lower back's not lifting. You're going to curl up, and the last bit of out breath, reach and place that object just on your shins. Breathe in, bring the hands back to the head. Breathe out, bring the head to the floor. Again, we curl up, breathing out. Last bit of out breath, reach for the block. Breathe in, block to head. Breathe out, head comes down. And then you can bring the feet down. So again, feet lifted, option 1 foot, option 2 feet with the block. Breathe out to curl up. Last bit of out breath. Reach and balance. Breathing in, keep the shoulders lifted, hands to head. Breathe out, come down. Breathe out again, curl up. Last bit of our breath to reach. Breathe in, block to head. Breathe out, head down. And then feet down, one at a time. So we're keeping the legs lifted for 2 full curl-ups. The first curl-up, we bring the block to the legs. And the second curl-up, we bring the block back overhead. So as I said, pick something that's a little bit challenging. Using the block on its smaller edge just means it's a little bit more wobbly. And I promise there's no sticky tape on the edges of this one. That was all my good core strength, that was holding the block still. No sticky tape, I'm not cheating. So yeah, extra little challenge. Obviously, if you're a little bit more unsteady, or if you kind of bony, knobbly knees, anything like that, something flatter will be exactly the same challenge. We've got a couple of challenges because we're keeping the legs lifted for longer. We're curling up and we're reaching, so we're trying to curl up a little bit further to reach and place the block on the shins. That's the extra little challenge there, and obviously keeping it as still as possible. So keep going with those. Keep going with those. How are you getting on? Have you got something that balances well? Do you need to have a look around your house for some other objects that are maybe a little bit wider or a little bit more narrow? If it's feeling easy, find something a little bit tougher for next time. So give me just a couple more of these. I'm going to join you for this last one. So, curling up. Can you reach the object a little bit further away? Hands come back to head. Keep the shoulders lifted. Start. Breathe out to come down. Breathe out again to curl up. Reaching as far as you can. Don't bring the knees in any closer than the hips. Lock to head. Head to floor, feet come down. So finish the one that you're on, and then give me a little stretch. You might take your legs long, take your arms long. It might feel nice just to come up back into an easy bridge to get some length through the front of your body, through your hip flexors. And so for the next part of the class this evening, I'm going to get you to come and lie on your tummy. We're going to do some extension for the back. So once you've had your little stretch, come and lie down. The blocks can go out of the way. So please turn on a little bit of an angle so you can kind of see what's going on. We're going to set up with arms out in front. So you've got hands about shoulder width, a little bit wider if that's more comfortable for you. And the elbows come in just slightly, so there's a little bit of a lift in your chest. Feet are about hip width apart and toes relaxed down to the floor. So we find a neutral spine position. Often when we come and lie here, we forget about the tummy muscles, or it's just that we've just worked them really hard, and so we're like, just let go of the tummy muscles. But keep them engaged here, and that's going to stop your back from overextending. So when we squeeze the belly, we find a bit more of a neutral position. So anytime you're moving, lifting and lowering, I want you to engage tummy muscles. And we squeeze the bottom as well. It's just going to hold the pelvis and the tailbone steady. So we've got elbows to floor. We've got a little bit of a lift in the chest. As you breathe in, I want you to lift your right hand and your left leg. So breathing in to lift, and then breathe out to come down. Swap sides, left hand, right foot. Breathe in to lift, breathe out to come down. Keep alternating, always lifting an opposite arm and leg. So as we lift the leg, we're trying to move from the hip rather than from the knee. So it's a squeeze of the bottom and a lift of as much of the leg as you can. It doesn't have to be high. We're going for keeping length rather than getting anything too high. So just a small lift, you'll feel it in the hamstring and the butt. As you lift one arm, we're trying to keep the shoulders level and square to the floor. So depending on how high you lift, as you lift one arm completely, you might press the other hand into the floor and just lift the elbow slightly. That's going to keep your shoulders square to stop you rolling side to side. When we work opposite arm and leg, if we move too much, we end up with this twist through the body where the shoulders go one way and the hips go the other way. So we're constantly under this kind of twisty movement. And so we want to avoid that. We don't want to do that. So shoulders square and level, hips square and level, small steady movements is all we're doing. Breathing in to lift, breathing out to come down. If this is feeling a little bit too much on your lower back, or if you want to just step it down a little bit, you might just work upper body, alternating arms, or you might work around the body, doing one limb at a time. So see what feels good for you. If you want to try and make this a little bit tougher, rather than up and down, we start paddling. So all four limbs are going to move together, keeping it slow. There's no rush at all. So as you breathe in, right hand, left foot lift. As you breathe out, all four limbs change position. As you breathe in, all four change back. And as you breathe out, all four change. So we're keeping the squeeze in the belly. We're keeping the squeeze in the bottom. We've got a little bit of squeeze between the shoulder blades and the upper back, and that's going to support us. I've got my arms and legs confused. There we go. So you might do a few of these, and then rest down, reset, come back with a few more. So paddling, moving all four limbs at the same time, means that there's points where we've not got any limbs in contact with the floor, and therefore more engagement through the body to hold us. If that's feeling good, and you think, yeah, I'm up for one final little bit of challenge, exactly the same paddling, but the rule change here is that the floor is lava. Your hands, your feet aren't allowed to touch the floor. This adds in a little bit of spatial awareness of our body. So while it's fairly easy to see where the hands are and stop them before they touch the floor, unless you've got a massive mirror in front of you like I have just behind the camera here, you're not going to be able to see what your feet are doing. So this is about that awareness of where your body is. Knowing that if you lift your leg this much, you can only put it down halfway. So not a kind of just dropping it, control, small movement, small movement. Go for it, have a go. The floor is lava. Keep squeezing bellies, keep squeezing bottom. Give me 4 more, 3 more, 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, and 1 more. Rest down. Come back to child's pose. Child's pose or cat and cow stretch. So just getting a little bit of forward flexion through the spine. You might be here with a rounded back. You might come onto hands and knees and be a little bit more kind of here. Just finding some movement. You might have a little wiggle side to side through hips and shoulders as well. And so already that is kind of us almost at the end. We're going to finish just with 1 more spinal extension, which, depending on where you want to take it, can be more of a strengthening, or you can use it as a little bit more of a kind of stretch towards the end of class here. So take it as far as tough as you want. We're going to come back to the same starting position with hands out in front, shoulder width or slightly wider. And again, I want you to slide your elbows in just a little bit. To begin with, we keep the elbows on the floor. Spine is neutral, belly is relaxed, and the glute muscles are relaxed. We switch them on when we start to lift a little bit higher. So everything is relaxed. As you breathe in, head lifts, neck lengthens, and I want you to lift out of the shoulders. So we're getting a little bit of a roll back, as if you can see that well in the camera, a little bit of a roll back as a squeeze of the shoulder blades together. We breathe in to lift, we breathe out to come back down. So breathe it in, head, neck, shoulders. Maybe you start to feel some of the ribs lift off. As you breathe out, ribs, chest comes back, sink into the shoulders, release the neck and the head. So finding as much or as little extension as you want. Bringing the elbows closer is going to give you more opportunity to lift higher. Breathing in, head, neck, shoulders back, squeeze shoulder blades together. Press into forearms, maybe the bottom ribs lift off. Maybe you start to feel the belly muscles engage and lift the belly button off. Breathe out, tummy, ribs, chest, shoulders, neck and head. here. This is where we start to squeeze the belly and squeeze the bottom as well. When we squeeze the glute muscles, it stops the tailbone from lifting up, it stops the pelvis from tipping. That tip would cause more pressure through the lower back. So we squeeze to hold everything in place. You've got a couple of options from here. You can keep bringing the hands in closer, and you might even end up with the hands all the way under the shoulders. Whenever you are, wherever you are, we always roll the shoulders back and keep the shoulders away from the ears. If you're keeping the hands a little bit further out, you've got the option now to lift the elbows as well. Elbows always lift last, come back down first. Breathe in, head, neck, shoulders back, ribs, belly, squeeze bottom, press into the hands so we lift a little bit more. Breathe out, elbows down first, shoulders stay away from the ears, belly, ribs, chest, shoulder, neck and head. Now if you are lifting the elbows, I want you to make sure that the shoulders are back before the elbows lift. And as you lift, obviously using the arm and shoulder muscles here for a little bit more work, never lock out your elbows. Because what can happen when the elbows lock out is that the shoulder muscles relax, we sink down, and we end up with a load more extension because everything else just kind of switches off. So always elbows soft, arm muscles, shoulder muscles working. Give me just a few more of these. Breathing in, lifting, extending through the spine. The higher you lift, the more you squeeze to protect the lower back. Keeping the elbows slightly soft, shoulders away from the ears. Elbows always bend first. Slowly placing the body back down. Head, neck, shoulders. That's like you're being lifted and pulled forwards as well as up. Come down slow. Lovely. Just one or two more of those for me. Once you are done, finding a little bit of forward flexion. So again, that might be coming to a child's pose. You can lift the hips a little bit higher. You can use blocks underneath the thighs or blocks for the head. Just finding some length through the spine. From child's pose, a little stretch into the side of your body. So I'd like you to walk the hands across one way. The hips stay where they are, the shoulders follows, the spine comes into side flexion. Just a couple of breaths into the side of your ribs. Sides when you're ready. Breathe in to come to center. Breathe out to come across. And once again, coming back into center. Taking the arms out in front and just lifting the hips a little bit. Coming into a bit of a twist. So I want you to bend one elbow and take a look underneath. If it feels right, you can thread the arm all the way through, thread the needle, or just keeping hands in front, dropping one elbow, looking under the other. And so if you're threading the needle, hold for a few breaths either side. If you're keeping hands in front, you might like to swap side to side a little bit quicker. And once you've done both sides, just coming to take a seat. You can sit back on your knees, you can bring your legs crossed, wherever feels comfortable for you. So just a final little twist, coming around to one side, Lengthen through the spine, press the sit bones down, drop the shoulders back. Swap sides, come around. And back to centre. Give me a roll of your shoulders. And the turn of your head, maybe coming into a little circle. Shake the arms, the wrists, fingers. Now stretch through the toes as well. And just take a big breath in, bring your arms all the way overhead. And well done. Thank you for joining me this evening. That is your Pilates done for today. Lovely to spend the evening with you. Make a note in your diary, if I've got the maths right, next week it's going to be the last one, I think, isn't it? So, yeah, please come and join me. Remember, you can catch up with all of these on YouTube as well. The link is in through the Achieve Lifestyle app. And hopefully, fingers crossed, touching all the wood that I can around me, we'll be back seeing you all in person soon enough. So please look after yourselves, take care, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.